welcome to 24 Slaying. I'm here. I got Biggie, Luis, Biggie,
Luis Miguel.
Luis Miguel.
Luis Miguel, yeah. Legally.
Woodfire pies. Woodfire pies.
Woodfire pies
Go get you some. And then we got Joseph back. Joseph's
What's
back.
going on, everybody?
Joseph's back.
Son of a plumber. Follow him on
little,
Instagram. Son of a plumber.
It's a little different, Joseph, but he's here.
Sewer plumbing. Russian fuego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on it. He was doing it. So what's up, Big? How you doing?
I'm tired, bro.
Yeah. So how's this pizza thing? You left a Fortune 500 company to become a pizza man.
Nah, I didn't. I'm still in the company. What I do right now is I work for a nonprofit, right? Regular 9-to-5 job. I'm an HR generalist. Been there for 6 years. And, just along the way, you just kind of like want to stop asking for raises because, it's always about budget or, but being in HR, you kind of see everything. So you really see where all the money's going.
Yeah.
So you just kind of like, I just said, I need to build my empire. So in, 2019, I just had an idea. I had been also working for a catering guy for about 10 years, Scott Floman, Big Screen Cuisine. He's out in the Valley. Worked with him, as a server, moved up, did a bunch of his parties, gained his trust. I was versatile, right? Being able to be in the kitchen and manage serving staff and organize and stuff like that. So, it all kind of just clumpled up and, out of necessity, kids, we all got kids here. I just had a newborn too. We'll kind of go into that and how that's playing. But, kids light a fire underneath your ass and, what best way, right? Like my best friend's family owned a plumbing company over 30 years.
Yeah.
They showed me the way. They showed me what you can do and the things you can have and what you can provide for your family, right? If you own your business, a successful business, right? So, 2019, we just started. And
so how'd you start it?
So I started thinking like, all right, everybody that, does tacos, like the taco thing and everything. And right. And I wanted to do stuff that Scott was doing, right? Because his was the bar.
Yeah.
Scott was doing 300 people, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, and, making money, right? And he'd come in and he'd be like, what's going on? He does all behind the scenes, right? Gets us to the point, and then he builds the team that executes, right? So I learned that from him. And just, thinking how he does it, but maybe doing it at a smaller scale and then growing it. That's how I started. And I just thought like, what? I've always loved pasta. Being in a Mexican family, your mom always told you like, oh no, we are like, not always told you, but like if you told her make me spaghetti, but all she knew how to make was Mexican food, she wasn't going to venture into Italian, So I was like, oh, I don't know how to make that, So I always had to like make my own food, right? Or not always make my own food, but whenever I wanted like to venture out when I got older, I'd go look on recipes and cook myself.
Yeah.
So like my mom was a home cook, I'm a home cook, and I just ventured into Italian food, and then that just kind of led to like, okay, well, time, like you want to be able to feed people fast, right? In a quick manner, right? And then I don't know, just pizza kind of just popped into my head because of Italian. I always liked Italian. I want to go to Italy, want to do a trip out there, venture out, explore, find inspiration, I guess, in small towns, small villages, not so much the big cities. And that just popped into my head. And my first concept was, and because you got the uni, but
I had the same idea. And then Joe said
little tabletop. Yeah, exactly. So these little tabletops and I mean mine was nothing compared to what they have now.
Yeah.
Mine was like, I looked on Amazon, it was $300, and I said like, damn, so I need 4 of them, $300, we cook pizzas in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Bought one, didn't even hesitate. And damn, you know what? I'll send you some pictures so maybe you can edit some of these early renderings of like what my pizzas look and stuff like that. But from that day on, it was just like YouTube videos, how to make it. I, basically got inspiration from different chefs and made a recipe of mine, and it's simple, right? Now, I'm not going to say how you do it or what's in there, but, it's really simple, and, I can say that it is my own.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own version of a recipe. You know, it's the concept and the core of it is the same, but how we do it, I think, and the things that you do in the process, that's what makes every pizza guy's dough different. You know, from the flour that you use, you know, from, you know, how you let it sit, you know, the yeast that you use, everything, you know. So, yeah, I just started making batches. It was literally, and I remember it vividly, it's 2019. The Dodgers were like in the playoffs. I think this may have been like from 2018 they were in and they lost. And we are like, okay, 2019 we're gonna do it. And I think they ended up winning 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2019 they didn't, but we were all super excited because they were in the playoffs. They were stacked. They were like the hottest team in baseball. So every like Saturday and Friday, we were watching the Dodger game in the backyard in East LA. And like I was just making pizzas. Just new recipe, new this, new that, new everything. Writing it all down. Exactly what I did, how much I put in everything, and then tasting it and then getting the feedback. I mean, I did this all of October. All of October, all of November, and then December, and then
I
finally...
didn't get an invite.
You did not get the invite.
That one for sure you did get an invite. That was around the time you were telling me your idea.
I know.
And I was like, oh, Biggie's doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was doing this. I was thinking the same thing. I was telling Jordan, let's do this. And then Jordan got a job, messed everything up.
Damn it, Jordan.
Yeah, so that's
No,
what I
messed it all up.
You got a career.
Yeah.
Oh, career.
No.
Well, you'll figure out, bro. You can do it with a career.
You're over there.
I'm over here.
You're over there. You're over there. You're over there.
Ah.
Jordan, no, he has a contract. So it's not
Oh.
yeah, he's looking for another job. He's looking for a career. He wants to go back to teaching. But anyways, let's get back to what's your name
I
again?
can put the hat right there.
Teaching accounting?
He wants to go to teaching. Back to teaching.
Okay.
That's cool.
Good for him, man.
So he should be here, but
I'll come back.
Next time.
Come back.
We'll
Anybody who was in HR?
we'll wait another
Wait another episode or two?
3-4 months.
Well, we're gonna go viral on this one. I already know.
Okay.
We're gonna go viral on this one. We're gonna blow up on TikTok or something.
All right.
But
So you 2019 you started making pizzas. Then
Dodgers, and it was just constant feeding my family. They were sick of it, and I think finally, I landed on a recipe, and that recipe isn't the recipe and the process that I have now. I landed on something that I really liked.
that was the good one, huh?
No, trust me. Where we're at now, I'm very happy. But that doesn't mean I won't ever change it or maybe do another. Maybe keep it the original and then maybe branch off and say like, hey, this is this kind. Your stuffed crust.
Stuffed crust, baby.
They'll be happy
for that one.
But yeah, my first gig, right? So we're in 2019 December. One thing that I did realize, and that I think I'll encourage anybody who watches this is like, anytime you're doing something or making something, even in your job or whatever you do, there's always room for improvement on how you do it, right? The process, the steps you take, how you organize it, or even how you execute it. And so just kind of, thinking about that, right? Like I was really looking at times, how long, and quality of how the pizzas were. And this oven, what I noticed in this oven is that, and I don't forgot the brand. It's probably like blown out of the water with Uni and all these other ones, because And what I noticed was that everything was cooking great, the crust, but if you didn't let the stone sit for long enough, right, after you've baked a pie for it to reheat, your first pie might be great. The second pie, that stone is going to get cold. And if you need to immediately toss another one in because you're trying to cater and you're trying to feed some 40 people in 20, 30 minutes, right, you're going to get a raw dough bottom at that point, or you're going to get a burnt crust. Yeah. So I immediately saw that as the bottleneck in my scheme of things, and that's why I only bought one of those, because I was really just testing it out. But my plan was to, maybe spend like $1,600 on ovens, right? And they were easy and portable. And then one day my brother, Alfred, my older brother, he comes to me and he says, hey, you might want to think about getting like a big boy oven. And then I ran across this company online, just doing research, and really, you're right, like like, I didn't have a lot of money back then. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just thinking about like what's my lowest, price point? How can I get into this? I think something's off.
Yeah, you're fine.
Is it mine?
Yeah, you're fine.
How can I get into this at the most cost effective price point?
Yeah.
Right. But getting the job done right.
Thank you.
I can't hear anything. You guys are all jacking me up on my stuff.
You're fine. You don't need it.
There you are. All right. Cool.
That was good.
Okay, cool.
And so I immediately saw that bottleneck, and I said, okay, I have to pivot. I was looking at these ovens, and I saw one. It fit like 3 pies. It was all stainless steel. It was nice. It looked pretty, and it was like maybe like $3,000, $300 to $500. So I went from like 1,600, thinking like, shit, I'm about to drop it, and I dropped it. The crate came in. I remember the day. I was so excited, and my parents were kind of like, "What the hell did you just buy? Like you spent how much?" And I was just like, "No, don't worry. Like I got it all up here. Like I already see it, And I bought it, and it works great. I still have that oven today. I sometimes use it when we do double parties, and yeah, like it was great. Like the first event that we did with that oven was at my niece's first birthday, and it was 100 people, all family. And I'm just thinking like, fuck, I'm gonna feed 100 people. And if you go down and you scroll to my Instagram, like the first posts are about that, party and how we did it. And we did it like made to order. We had a chafer with ice. Now we have like an actual refrigerator that we take to parties, and everything's electric, and we keep everything out at temperature, right? But you can see where we started, and then how we've grown and invested in the company, and equipment and just stuff like that, right? Just to be part of like following the rules and health safety, right? Food safety, right? As far as temperature with food. But yeah, like 100 people, dude, it was crazy. We did it made to order, which now we do buffet, because we were just like getting every order, and then trying to find the person who left from the party was like chaos. Yeah. So I just said, no, we need an organized buffet. And after doing a few parties where we did that, we just said bigger parties has to be buffet.
So it's like little little CCs or pizza. Shakies.
Yeah, a bunch of lunch, exactly.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So you make pizzas, you cut them, you put them out, and then they just grab their own, or you guys serve still?
No, well, we basically do a buffet for them. We bring all the decorations, the tables, the linens, and everything. I think we have a pretty clean look, for most people and what they're liking. And we've done like custom things, obviously, if we're buying more decor and stuff, we have to charge a little more. But we work with the clients. We design whatever they want, a theme, right? Sometimes I've had clients say, hey, it's going to be race car theme, can you get race car plates? And I'll be like, okay. And then I'll show them, work with the client, right? Be like a sense of relief, because a lot of these people, they're putting a lot of money into this event, right? For the child, for themselves, for a loved one, and like the money that they're putting in, right? We know that like it has to come out perfect, right? There's a certain standard, right, that you have to give and provide to our clients, because first of all, they're paying for it, right? And it's just, when you pay for that type of service, you got to deliver, and I think that we do, definitely. I've had several people come up to us and say, hey man, I'm from New York, and the pizza from California is shit. Your pizza's great. I don't want to say I'm the best pizza, because I still like Pizzana. I still like Elio's. I like all the Woodfire guys, right? There's a couple in Whittier called La Crosta, right? Like, they're doing what I'm doing. And trust me, there's plenty of mouths to feed, right? Like, people saying that you're on my turf, you're this, you're that. Like, there's plenty of mouths to feed, right? Different folks, different strokes, right? Like, everyone's gonna find somebody. Like, everybody, like, there's a clientele for Little Caesars, right?
Yeah.
There's a clientele for pizza at Mastro's, So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we started that first party. It was great. It was stressful. I had a lot of people, brothers, my nephew, brother-in-law, 2 brother-in-law, sister-in-law. Like, it was just like a family affair. And it's still just pretty much like a family thing right now, but we're growing, from there. Yeah. Well, kind of going back to that, right? Like February, because it was Valentine's Day, 2020, and we all know what happens in March of 2020. Pandemic hits, everything shuts down, no fucking parties, right? So from March to July, I'm sitting on 6,500 worth of equipment that is just collecting rust, because it's all stainless steel stuff, right? So then my partner comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, you gotta do something with that. We live in East LA. Everything's closed. Sell in the front." And I said, "Okay." Which, to be honest, like, the only people that have had my pizza is my family.
Yeah.
So to go out and showcase your food to the public, like, that's scary, right? Because that's like an artist putting their painting on the wall, right? Like, that's like, you have to have a certain level of confidence, arrogance, maybe, to like be like, all right, yeah, my bumps and shit. Like, I still think like, how can we improve, right? There's always room for improvement, at least in my head. But, I just was like, shit, like, we're gonna sell, and I don't really know if my pizza's all that great.
Yeah.
Because it's, like I tell a lot of people, like, family's gonna lie to you. They say that I'm pretty.
Well, you are.
No. Even friends lie. But, like, that happened, and finally, I think it took me like a month maybe to finally, it wasn't just like, all right, let's sell. I think I had to sit on it for a month. So I think she told me that in June of 2020. And then finally July, I just set a date and we did it. We made 80 doughs. I put one little sign, and I'll show you the picture of the sign.
I seen it.
I
missed it.
What happened?
I seen it and I missed it. I
saw that sign that said 3 p.m.
No, by the time I get there, it's like everybody works. People do work, and not like right now next door.
Yeah.
And you live in the worst traffic area.
I feel you.
Ever.
Yeah, it's pretty bad over there.
60, 710, 605. It's all bad.
But yeah, so like that pizza sign, right? I just threw it up there, popped the canopy, rolled my little stainless steel oven, did a similar setup like my sister's party with like the chafer with ice with all the toppings, keep the cheese and the meats cold, and and we just did like cheese, pepperoni, and veggie, and a meat lovers. I think that was it. And dude, look, all I can say is that East LA, Sadler, that community came through. Like 80 pies that day, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I just like blew my mind. And like the rest is history, right? Like we just kept popping up. We kept popping up because that was the only thing to do. Like, everybody was scared. I mean, literally, like I don't know if you did it. You probably didn't do this shit, but I lived with my parents at the time, right? And they're older. We were washing fucking grocery bags and milk outside, and it was like the contaminated table at the decontaminated table because of COVID.
Really?
Like, dude, like they were all fucking like, they.
Yeah, Tim did that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point where we were just fucking like,
no, I didn't do that.
Crazy. Like my parents were scared, and I think till this day they still haven't gotten it, or if they, we got it. All my brothers and sisters have got it. We've been fine. But yeah, man, like it was cool popping up. And then things started opening up, I guess, toward 2021. And it was just hustling, right? Literally every Friday, Saturday, just hustling, just opening it up, and still working from home, right? I still had my 9-to-5 HR job and still doing this, and just literally my goal was like, make that money back. That's the only thing. I was like, I don't want to fucking pay myself. I wasn't like keeping the cash or anything. Like, it was just like, pay yourself back. Put that back in the savings, And, from there, it was like, we paid everything off. And then I was like, I need a bigger oven. And then if you look on the Instagram, you'll see when I announce that we're purchasing this it was the same brand in El Fornino, Grande series on a trailer. And that one was like 14,000. So boom, you reinvest, and I put that one on credit card. I was just like, whatever, like I'll pay it off with the money that we're selling, and I'll get the points. Easy, easy points right there. So that way I can go to Vegas.
Yes.
But we'll talk about Vegas, dude. We should talk about some of the crazy times in Vegas. Next episode. But so we went right back into debt with another trailer, because I wanted to be able to go in and out of parties quicker. So another thing, right? Kind of pivoting, improving on the process, and really thinking about labor costs, right? Like business acumen. We're doing parties and we're doing great, right? We got buffets. I'm using this oven that we have to lift in and out of a truck.
Yeah.
And it had these little pegs on the sides, so.
And you don't have a truck either.
Yeah, I didn't have a truck at that time. I had to use my brother's truck. I had an Explorer, a van, and then, I'd have to use my brother's truck. Mm-hmm. So, I'd have to ask him for it, or I'd have to get a U-Haul. And so, just, figuring out, oh, shit, once we're done with this party, we just can't get up and leave after we clean because this shit's not cold.
Yeah.
Right? So now I'm paying for people to sit on their asses, right? Which, it's okay sometimes, I guess, but you don't want to be doing that all the time. And if we can be more efficient, I said, screw it. So I said, we need to be able to come in and out. Hook a trailer, get out, right? Get home. Excuse me. Get home because the show's not over, right? We got to wash dishes. Yeah. And I think that's what people sometimes don't get with catering.
Yeah.
You see my prices, and sometimes they're like, what the fuck, just for pizza? And I'm just like, I don't think you understand, the process that you go through.
I just paid. I went support.
No. But I'm talking about the catering prices, not the food trailer prices.
No, it's funny. I just paid it, right? And then I was sitting there, and then I looked at, and then it gave me a
receipt.
No, receipt. Now I'm like, okay.
Maybe
I should have got 3.
Did you eat them all though?
I bought the pepperoni.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't eating pepperoni. I knew that. And then I bought the pastor pizza.
Yeah.
And I ate half.
Okay.
One for me, and then I got Jordan a whole
pepperoni.
I don't know why I keep buying that kid pizza food when he has a job, but anyways.
Hey, Brian, never gonna stop, man.
Hey, you want Woodfire? You gotta pay this time.
Yeah. So
Can I get Zelle?
But no. So just the whole process, right, of start to finish a catering job. The time it takes to get the client, to work with them, right, answer their questions to the point of then going to their house and right, measuring it out, right, having the game plan so you can go back. Because I've done parties where I've never been, I'm going to do that this weekend. Never been to this lady's house. Just got the address 2 days ago. She booked it a month ago. And I just did an aerial view. And I'm going to get there. I don't know where she's going to have shit. Yeah. And so sometimes it can be a pain in the ass. We're just like, damn, we are tight.
Do you do the pizzas outside and then bring them in?
Yeah.
And then, so you just still do them.
So if we have to set up in the front, we will set up the kitchen in the front. We can have the buffets in the back. As long as I got, a pathway, preferably not in the house, right, to the backyards. Sometimes the clients do have the food in the house, so then we will, make the food on islands. Clients that have the really big islands will set them up in there and then, do a nice display, which is cool. But yeah. Shit, I forgot what we were.
So you have to do you do the prep for all the you chop everything, you buy everything chopped, or
no? I chop everything
and grate everything.
Yeah. We grate everything. Yes.
You grate the cheese.
Our fresh mozzarella. The 5 cheese blend already doesn't come, but it doesn't have the powder, which is why I have to keep it cold, because if it starts warming up, it fuses together.
Yeah.
So the cheese that we have does not have powder. because a lot of the mozzarella, they'll have a powder that doesn't, but then that's what makes it rubbery.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, like my cheese isn't rubbery, I don't think. Yeah. It was like, I don't know. I saw that receipt.
I just eat. I just eat pizza. I don't know. I just buy it. No, it was good. It's really good.
I did adjust, but again, I want to see my numbers. You know, this is my first time doing this, you know, and I tell people like, you know, I'm new to this. Every day is a learning. Like right now, I'm learning how to balance a newborn and my food trailer. Like 2 babies got slammed literally on the same weekend, you know? My baby was born, and then I got the keys to my trailer, and it was like, you know, you got bills to pay. Big bills, you know? Not like I got to feed people, I got to put a roof over my head, which those bills are big. But, like, just think of, like, mortgages, like, 3 times.
So you have a pizza trailer,
yes,
a pizza oven, and a pizza trailer.
I do. So, I have a pizza oven, yes, stainless steel, small one. Then I got the pizza oven on a trailer. And then I have a full certified pizza kitchen with the mosaic oven, 18 feet. And yeah, man, like, so kind of like going in, we did a bunch of catering, right? Well, no. Pandemic opened, we did breweries. Breweries were good.
Yeah.
We popped up in different breweries and got our names out. And then literally, once it was like lifting up a lot of the restrictions, people started doing parties of 30, parties of 40. And then we started going into the 70s and 80s. And now, you know, every once in a while, because they're stressful. Weddings are stressful. Big parties are super stressful. They're like 19, 20-hour days. I'm not kidding. When people do a full spread and you got to prep everything, you got to have the storage, the refrigeration, you got to, you know, it's like I can't do this with like my little fridges. Like you got to buy like fridges that cost $4,000, $6,000, you know, and one party will fill up 3 fridges, you know. So, you know, you got to have that capacity, you know, and so, but yeah, you know, like, once that opened up, big parties started going, and we went strictly just parties only, hitting Instagram, you know, actually, that's the only thing I advertise, you know, and that's something, too, like, that really opens up your mind, like, when you got a business and you start utilizing Instagram for what it is, right, like, it's a marketing tool, right, it's literally how I get all my business.
Do you have a kitchen, too?
I don't have a kitchen, so we do everything on the.
So you prep everything in the trailer. Yeah. That kitchen, right? That's your kitchen.
Yeah, that's the kitchen.
You guys
before we were going in and out of other kitchens.
You guys are going to go in and together and get a kitchen so that he can cook and you can.
Dude, I told him, yeah, that's literally what. So like we'll lead into that right now, but like literally like going, like there is, it's not an end goal, but it's like I think it's what I'm calling the next goal. Right, because the goal already, you know, because there was a point in all this where we were doing catering where I told my wife, like, I want to open up a food trailer. And she looked at me, she's like, you're not going to open up a food trailer. The moment that she told me that, I was said, watch me. I didn't tell her that, but what I said.
But she might. I was like, she might know now.
Right there. You guys
going to be like, but you said it like that? Yes, and then, hey, honey, oh, hey!
So just get it edited all out, where you miss all the middle monologue right there. It's just straight to what you said.
I'm gonna start a trailer. That's what's how it's gonna start. Yes. That's what's gonna be the title of this whole podcast. I'm gonna start a trailer.
I'm gonna start a trailer.
B.
Oh shit.
But yeah, you know, and so. I mean, I remember we were also trying to buy a house too, like in this. So like prior to, in the pandemic, we were in escrow. We
have to wear
my ears.
No, you don't have to wear them.
Oh no.
It's only. Hold on, everybody. You only have to wear the headphones so you can hear yourself. If you don't need to hear yourself.
I have to hear myself.
He likes them. He likes to hear himself.
I am. Yeah.
He likes to hear himself.
Like if my coworkers see this, they're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, he's full of himself."
Yeah,
he's so loud.
You gotta put this on the Instagram.
I will put it on my Instagram if people can hear the story. Hell yeah, I'm gonna post this on the link and everything.
Yeah, see if we can get some more support.
Yeah,
for sure.
I guess we're like supporting each other now.
Yeah,
it took that long.
Took a while.
I had to miss a bunch of pop-ups.
Yes.
He came to the first one and I saw Tim and I was like, I'm coming! I swear, this week!
Oh man, that's crazy.
But, yeah, you know, and then, so where are we? We're in
You're looking at
buying a house at this point, running a business, working remote from my job, which again, like, I love my job. I love working with my team. My team is like great there. The organization is great. It's called Community Partners. We do a lot of work with like a lot of different communities, Black and brown communities, LGBTQ, stuff like that. So, like it's, and then like, what other ones, like access to college for like low income kids. It's like, so what we do is we're a fiscal sponsor. Just think of us, we run the business, and then these programs say, we know how to do the program, we don't know how to do the business. So we merge together and they become us as a nonprofit. And then we help them out just with the business aspect. And then there's just a trade-off between like, there's a fee for service. So that's my regular job, but I do the HR. So I'm like hiring, firing, giving managers advice on what to do, stuff like that. If you have an issue with your check, that's my 9 to 5. And again, like, I love it, but California's expensive. I saw a meme the other day that said like, you gotta own a job, a side hustle, and a little bit of IRS fraud to survive in California. And I mean, I'm not gonna admit to that, but it sounds plausible. That's what I'm gonna say to that. But yeah, so like we're buying a house and we're in escrow. We're like about to close, and then they tell me like the foundation's jacked. The inspector says, get a foundation specialist. That's my recommendation. Don't move forward. So I said, okay. So I pay like $850, pay like $1,600 to get 2 guys to tell me the same thing. You need a new foundation. $80,000. And it's like, well, that's $80,000 off the top. Once we dig, that shit can go up to $150. Special poles, special this, special soil, right? Like, we know percolation. How many times we had to dig fucking holes for your dad? Biggie, how? Put some water in there. Tell me how long that shit goes. I'm in the hole. Look at the seals. Vividly, bro. I was in El Monte at a U-Haul digging a freaking percolation test hole 6 feet down. And Big Joe's like, all right, I'll be back right now. Pour some water and time it, okay? I'm all like, what? Fun times. I used to be a plumber. I used to work with Joe, Mr. Rooter Plumbing of South San Gabriel. Which used to work there too. Good times, the good old days. Yes. But we're making good old days right now. So, but yeah, house foundation. We ended up pulling out of that deal, and we were trying to buy more houses. Duplex to kind of right. Obviously, like me, just thinking of like what my dad did, business mentality, right? You can, at least, if you can't live for free, it'll at least help you, right, with the cost of living, right? So nothing was coming up, man. It was a time where people were bidding $150,000 over $200K, crazy times to be in the market. You had to have a lot of money to buy and play. So we fell out, and I told Ashley, like, let me take my portion of the down payment and let me put in a trailer, and I waited for her. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't too long, maybe like a couple days. But then she told me, like, because I wasn't going to take that money and not ask her, right? Because this is the life we're trying to build together, right? So big decisions, a lot of money. I need her input. So, she said, yeah, go for it. And it was just like, look, realize that we do this. We're looking at a 3 to 4 years, right, of like adjustment, change. Like, this is a big commitment, right? Trying to pay this off and then trying to, and at that point, right, let's see, it was June of 2022 that I decided who to go with. Took me a while to figure out what manufacturer, but I decided to go with Brother Carts in Montebello, local small family shop. And this was their first build, right? So it was a good experience for them to learn how to build, a trailer that's going to house a 4,000-pound oven, right? And I don't know if you know who Elio is, but he's out in Hollywood off of Sunset. He probably started the whole Woodfire. I want to say started, but I think he's the one that blew up the most on Instagram. Because you got Woodfire Pizza in West LA, West Side. You got, Rovello's and Bellini's in Monterey Park. They've been there for years, right? So it's not nothing new. But I think the popularity of it blew up in the pandemic and stuff like that. It wasn't just about the pan pizza, the local mom and pop. It was like Woodfire. And yeah, like we put the down payment. I handed over that check, and at that point, like we started designing it. I knew what oven I wanted to go with. It's called the Mungaini. They're up north in Paso Robles area. I'm forgetting the city. They're gonna, if we tag them, they're gonna get mad at me. But yeah, I already knew which oven I wanted. We contacted them. We ordered it, and then the first roadblock, right? Oh, and then I was getting all the paperwork to get approved for the loan, right? All I needed was 30% down, and it was going to be super high interest and everything because it was high risk, and it was my first time, being a business owner, right? I had no financials, nothing to back me up other than my job, right? Which is why I'm still going to be working it today, right? I got to do both. Got to work that job and I got to work this, so that way, right? The boss isn't taking a big bite out of the pie. Right? I can pay these bills off quickly. So that way, then I can figure out my next move, right? Do I stay with my job or is it more lucrative to be here, right? Or can I still do both, right? Because to be honest, if I can work remote, give HR advice, provide the support to my team remotely, and still provide, support to my pizza team, why not have best of both worlds, And also benefits and all that stuff come into play, right? In the master plan of thinking what I got to do for my family, to survive, and yeah, like from there, we put the deposit, we build it, and then Mungaini tells me, hey, pandemic, we're going to order your oven. It's coming from Italy. It'll be here in November. This was June. And I was just like, what the fuck? So I was panicking, looking at other ovens, because then I was like, okay, this isn't the one. Because I had 4 months to build this. If not, I have to reapply for my loan. And the one thing that was now holding us back and the bottleneck is the main thing, the oven. So we find some ovens in Florida. They're not like ETL or NSF. They don't have the National Food Safety stamp. So LA County won't approve it if it's in my trailer. Can't use this one. Can't use that one. Just like no's after like, this ain't gonna work, this ain't gonna work, right? And I'm all to this timeline, like I need to get it done in these 4 months. And I just kind of like recessed and I said, well, if I want to do it, I want to do it right. And then I just kind of thought like, there's a reason why. To me, I just said, is the Mungaini worth the wait? And at the end of the day, I said yes. And I think that it was. It was, absolutely.
It's a big pizza oven.
It is a big pizza oven, and it's nice.
Yeah, I remember this timeline going along.
And yeah, and then all the time, I'm calling this guy, asking him for advice, and like talking to his parents too about when his dad was first starting out, Mr. Rito. I remember the one time he told me that he was like bent over and he had the damn fucking corded phone, and he said, "How do I make this phone ring?" And like for me, it's like, how do I make my DMs on Instagram go off, or how do I make my emails just spike with requests, right? And I'm doing that, with Instagram, with the marketing, and it's I don't want to say it's difficult, but when you know who your clients are and the tags and the age group and the gender that you're targeting and who's more gonna be like see value in what you're doing, like then it becomes effortless, but you learn that through trial and error, right? Because there were some $40 ads where I got a lot of hits and I was like, oh my god, like I just turned $40 into $3,000. What? In marketing. And then there was like sometimes I spent 200 and I got nothing, and it was just like learning, right, and pivoting. And so yeah, that first hurdle, I went with the decision of we're waiting. we sent the deposit to Mumbiini. We waited and we waited. They bought the trailer, and I'll send you a picture where you can show the trailer while I'm talking right now.
Probably not.
Yeah, you should.
Probably not.
Tell him how to edit it. You don't have to edit it raw, and I'll do it, and then you can.
Yeah, then we'll do it. But basically, they Brother Cards bought the trailer, and they framed it out. You know, they protected the steel frame, and it was literally sitting there until November. You know, and I remember it was where were we?
Montebello.
Well, we were in Montebello, but I'm trying to think of the timeline because, you know, we picked out the color, we picked out everything. The oven got there in probably like ending of October into November, and then I was communicating with them up north and saying like, hey, I want you to let me know when you're going to tile it because I want to go up there and videotape some content. And that was a great trip. It was literally like spontaneous. You know, I had been using my corporate, you know, we had opened up a corporate account. You know, we created a corporate structure for Woodfire Pies because I wanted to be able to have that all laid out for when the trailer comes and just get the catering into, you know, getting it out of where it was at and into, you know, corporate structure, corporate bank account, like making it legit, you know. And we did that. We did that from May of 2022, you know, so we're out going into a year of like actually having books for a year. And I'm trying to think my point here. Shit. It just flew out of my head. But yeah, going back, you know, we did that. We, you know, basically had all the corporation stuff settled. Now I know where my point was going with it. You know, used the corporate points to fly me up to Santa Rosa, right? To go, we got up, like literally I woke up at 4:30 in the morning, caught a plane at 6, got there. The guys picked me up, had breakfast, had some lunch, you know, made pizza in their ovens. They gave me a tour. And then I was able to capture like some of the time, you know, them seeing the oven for the first time. Super exciting. And then he was laying it out. And then I'm glad I went because if I wouldn't have gone, they wouldn't have put Woodfire Pies on the side like how I wanted it. Because I had called them and said it, and they were like, oh, it's kind of difficult. And, you know, they were kind of like, didn't want to do it. But then, you know, I was talking to the foreman, Latino guy. We were talking, you know, making a connection. And then he was just like, oh, yeah, you know, I told him, you know, in the office, you know, and I want to put my name. And he's like, here, put it down. He gave me white tiles, and I spelled it out for him, and then we put it on there. And he was like, oh, that's simple. I'll do it. And then, boom, I was able to get my name on there, right? So that trip was like not only like that cool to be there and see it, but it allowed me to customize the oven a little more, make the connection where like the phone wasn't making, right? And that's kind of like maybe the point there, you know, like people were missing that touch connection with people now with the, you know, AI is going crazy, right? Instagram and DMs and people not wanting to talk on the phone. Like literally the email and the phone wasn't getting what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
And I went there, said what's up, you know, made a presence, talked, connected with the people, and like they were then more than willing to like accommodate, you know, to make the oven look nicer. I don't know. To me, it's just a nice little statement.
Too?
What happened?
Didn't you also walk in on a class too while you're up there?
I did walk in on a class. They were doing some private classes with like a family, and I did kind of walk in, but they were letting me cook and stuff, and it was nice. That was the first time I cooked in a Mumiini, and it really just, because it's in a dome shape and it's like the traditional Neapolitan dome, the way it just circulates heat and how, you know, it just makes pizzas really good. Not saying that my El Fornino, but my El Fornino does have a really big opening and it lets a lot of the heat escape. And it's not fully domed, right? It's like domed on one side, then it's got a back wall that's completely flat. So I'm pretty sure that really is going to affect how, you know, heat is circulating, whereas the dome ones, they're kind of circulating like this, you know, constantly rolling in and out. But yeah, we got did that trip. That trip was cool. And, you know, and by the way, like I hadn't told my job any of this, right? Like I'm still doing this, thinking like, all right, like you're gonna get a food trailer, right? And well, kind of doing back forward, right? Like backing up on my story. So from November, let's go back to August. August, September, we find out my wife's pregnant. So I put the deposit in June, find out we're having our second baby. We have a 6-year-old. That we're gonna have our second baby in like beginning of May, ending of April. And I'm thinking like, okay, well, when is this food trailer going to be ready? Because the moment it's ready, bills come within 45 days. So that means how are you going to do with your job and then figure out to get this out every day? And look, long story short, from June to now, right? Everything lined up perfectly. My daughter came.
The trailer came.
Yeah, my daughter came and the trailer came the same exact weekend. And, I was able to take leave, which is kind of like a blessing, right? Because I can still keep my job protected, right? For people that don't know, like you have protected leave after if you're there for a certain amount of time and do a certain number of hours in California, right? And I have all the sick and vacation time in the world. I got EDD that helped me, right? So I got all these resources that are going to keep me paid so I can, right, live and pay my bills, my personal bills. And then I can have the time, obviously, right now, like these last 3 weeks have been challenging because newborn baby, 6-year-old, and trailer. It's like a lot of adjusting I've been trying to figure out, right? And one thing that I'm trying to reconcile or just figure out, or kind of not reconcile, but figure out with my baby girl is, not giving her the same amount of time that I gave to my son. But it's like it's gotta happen. My trailer's here, and this is all for them at the end. So yeah. And we're here now, man. We're here. We've got a trailer and newborn, and we're starting a new chapter, and it's just fucking lots.
Woodfire pies.
Woodfire pies,
definitely.
But yeah.
So what are you gonna do now? What is your plan now going forward? Like projection, what do you think?
My plan right now, and this is why I got 12 weeks of the leave, right? So these last 3 weeks, I've been really focusing on the family. Starting this upcoming Thursday, we're going to try to be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some Saturdays I'm going to be closed because we do have private events and we're trying to build a team. Like I'm learning real quick that this cannot be done just by me. Like I thought I could handle it. No. Like I'm trying to find a team, right? People that want to work, that I can trust. Right, because like I tell a lot of people, like, I don't know you, you don't know me, so I'm not going to trust you until you give me a reason not to trust you, right? So I'm going to give you my trust, but it can be taken away that quickly, and once there's no trust, this relationship is gone. I can't have you here if we can't trust you. And same goes for anybody else. Like if they can't trust me as a manager, then I'm not the manager or the company or the owner for you. It's I tell people there has to be a mutually beneficial where we're both benefiting in this relationship. If both of us don't feel this way, then regardless how if the other one is benefiting more than the other, that's when it's gonna go bad. So just trying to find people bearing with me right now until I figure out my numbers, because I don't know what my numbers are. I know what I got. I know what nuts I got to cover, but, like right now, right, building consistent hours for consistent customers, right? It's like, why do you go to In-N-Out? Why? Because you know that you're going to get a cheeseburger in any location, and you're going to get it from fucking 11 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock at night, right? 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? That's why you go, because they're always there at that street. That's kind of what we're trying to make, at least from my goal to seeing. It's like the pizza of In-N-Out. you know, that same standard, that same, you know, quality, which again, like, you know, working on toppings and working on quality, right? Always can improve on that, which I want to, but, you know, sometimes you have to figure out, like, is it worth it? Is the client going to pay for it, right? More prep work, more chopping, more this, more that. You got to pay somebody to do it. And guess what? Labor is not cheap anymore. You know, it's you know, you got to pay people. You can't pay people minimum wage. You know, you got to pay more than that. And even then, you know, people, they already say, like, in LA, right? You got to make this X amount to be able to afford a studio. You know, so yeah. But, you know, goal right now is just to figure out my new routine with my family and my business, and then build up to truck number 2, maybe brick and mortar, maybe, or creating a kitchen or a commissary where I can have my prep, have my kitchen, have my own space, but then also feel a need because not only where there's like a lot of like roadblocks in starting, like once they were like, all right, your truck is here, you got this, it's like, okay, like I already knew that we were going to pass the health inspection for LA County because they pre-approved our plans, right? Now it's just about, okay, do the plans match what you guys did? Cool, they do. We got that. After that, it was like pain in the ass trying to find city permits. Not every city wants a food trailer,
Yeah.
right? Because food trailers, they go in and out, they do, and they still do it. And I see why the guys do it because the cities are a pain in the ass.
So when you do like your dough, you have a big refrigerator that holds all those. Well, you only had 100. You only had 80 anyway, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have the capacity to do probably like 300.
But you only do 80 because you know Tim will be here like 81, 82. So.
Oh man.
I am trying to do 120 this Thursday.
One of the guys on Friday. He's like, bro, why did you get in line for me? And I was like, I'm sorry.
So yeah, you know, we'll be there, and it just, for me, it's like, give me time. I'm trying to figure this out. I know it's like people are like, oh, you know, keep your personal shit to yourself, like, you know, yeah, but you know, it's gonna affect how I'm gonna do my business, right? Because they come first at the end of the day, you know. Because without them, there's not this, you know. Yeah, that goal, I think, are either those 3 things, and those 3 things are kind of up in the air, you know. Given what I went through with cities and trying to find my spot, right? Because also, like, I'm not trying to. Well, I mean, like, to me, like where I landed was because I wanted to do it the right way, right? So Joe's parents let me use their restroom, gave me the letter, signed off. I paid the encroachment permit for Monterey Park, right? Now I have rights to that spot, right? And nobody can go and call anything and say, "Oh, these guys got to go. What are they doing?" Unless I'm doing something that breaks that encroachment contract with the city, then they can take me out. But you know, it's not my best interest to do that. You know, I want to do it the right way, so that way cities continue, and you know, Monterey Park can be the model. Like, because Montebello doesn't want to approve food trailers on the street. You know, and my thing is like, well, why not? You know, if it's certified, you know, we're asking to pay, you know, your taxes and your fees, right, to do it the right way. Why wouldn't you want to engage me? And they're like, well, because you guys do it wrong.
Can you do it like in a parking lot?
I can do it. Well, the thing is that I could do it on a parking lot, private property, but then the city's going to go, you know, and knock on that, you know, business potentially, and they can come to me and say, well, you don't got a business license. Sorry, I'm all screwing around here with the.
He's a fidget spinner. He loves buttons. I told you. See, at that board, he'd be like.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, so like that, right? Just that in itself, finding the spots, and you know, and then there's also the question, like, would I do a trailer or would I do a lunch truck next? I haven't really. I pulled it out 4 times, you know, so definitely it's a challenge to pull it in and out because those spots where we have to park it in the commissaries are really tight, you know, like, but, you know, I learned.
Develop your own commissary.
Yeah, that's exactly why I want to develop my own commissary. You know, and I also found that it was hard to find parking for my trailer. Not a lot of commissaries want trailers because the guys don't give a shit. They park it wrong and they park it, you know, crooked, and they're parking on a lunch truck's parking spot, you know, or they stick it out too much, and because guys don't develop the skill. You know, I was able to develop it at Mr. Rooter Plumbing. You know, Joe made me drive trailers, made me drive his personal, you know, camper, and you know, it was like a skill that we learned, you know, in our 20s, 18, 17, 16.
No, we don't even. Nobody needs to like pull a trailer anymore. Everything's on a
truck. You're right. Yeah, but like he had a jetter trailer. We would have to back that thing up into tight corners, into hilly hillsides, or
some crazy roads.
Yeah, you know, wherever. You know, he probably had to pull it into a dirt road at Alley County juvenile detention centers. You know, so you know it's a skill I developed. And, you know, it's another thing, right? Finding somebody that you trust to pull that $150,000 piece of equipment on an $80,000 truck, because that's the only truck that can pull this heavy, right? Because you got 4,000 pounds in the front, and you probably got another, you know, 8,000 or 9,000 pounds with water, all the equipment, all the standard equipment you got on there. So it's not like a standard lonchetta. It's heavier. You know, they had to buy special tires. They had to reinforce the bottom just so that that oven wouldn't fall through the floor, because it happened to Elio. You know, they actually know the manufacturer that did the first setup, and it fell. They had to raise it up and repair it and reinforce it. And my team was able to talk to them, learn from their mistakes to reinforce my floor. You know, so yeah, I mean, I think that's Woodfire Pies right there, but that's the next goal in the next, you know, I don't know, year, 2 years. I mean, I'm ambitious, and I want to grow, and you know, I tell people like I really don't have an end date or an end goal. It's more like, you know, like somebody said, right, the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next, and so that's what we did. You know, we got to the top of one. Now it's the top of the next one. So, yeah.
Nice. So where can they find you?
You can find me at, 221 West Pomona Boulevard in Monterey Park. We're also going to try to be at, you know, farmers markets. And I'm not picky. I'll go west side, east side. I'll go Inland Empire. I'll go Riverside. I'll go Orange County. You know, I don't discriminate. You know, yeah. Wherever people want my pizza, wherever it hits. You know, we'll go to Lancaster. Shit, man, I would want to maybe open up a spot in Mammoth. I love Mammoth. You know,
that's the next mountain we're looking at.
That's the next mountain. But yeah, you know, just that's where you can find us right now, because that's where we have the permits. And you know, I want to do it right. Again, going back to, you know, setting the standard and, you know, making an example of, like, you know, there are food trailers that want to go by the rules. But yeah, 221 West Pomona Boulevard, not east. Okay, sometimes your GPS might send you to East Pomona. It's West Pomona. Just keep on going down the road.
Past driving school.
Past the California driving school, you gotta pass Garfield Avenue. It's right off the 60 freeway in front of Mr. Rooter Plumbing. Of South San Gabriel.
And what's your Instagram?
Instagram handle is Woodfire Pies. Our email is woodfirepies@gmail.com. And our website is woodfirepies.com. We took that's one thing I'll tell people. If you got an idea, a business idea, take all the fucking handles.
Yeah.
Take them, like, as soon as you think of it, just take it. You know, because then you're going to be going Woodfire Pies, Woodfire _pie, you know, like... Yeah. No, we took everything. We took Twitter, TikTok, and, you know, we'll continue to take, you know, all the handles as things pop up. So,
all right. Yeah. So that's it, everybody. Like, we got Biggie on Woodfire Pies. Joe was here for support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional support.
Yeah. So look for us on all platforms. Like and subscribe if you like this one. Go on Woodfire Pies. Like and subscribe for them, and we'll see them again.
See you guys again. Thank you.
Okay. Joe?
Next time, guys.
Joe? Okay.
All right.
All right. Later. it.